Oops. Three, two, one. What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to Ash on Comics. My name is Ash, and this is my little storytime stream that I do twice a week, except when I don't do it twice a week. It's supposed to be twice a week. Sorry I missed you Tuesday. Yeah, just dealing with some things that suck. So I wasn't in the mood. To be quite honest, I'm not terribly in the mood tonight. But the show must go on is what they say, right? So let's the show go on. Woo! Glad for you guys to be here. Obviously, I mean, you guys are what make everything worth it to do the show. Tonight, I'm drinking Heineken. I used to like Heineken a lot better than I do. It's not bad. If I had to drink like a cheapy beer, this is better, but I don't know. Maybe it's because I'm drinking out of a can. Some of you might be like, "Oh, Ash, you think?" Yeah, I know. I understand. Modern cans, they got like technology where they line them so they don't have the tinny taste like you used to deal with. But Heineken may not be doing that. I don't know. I don't have a problem with other beers, at least the few that I do drink out of a can. I don't drink that many, but yeah. And then I also have a shot of Tres Generaciones. That's hard to say. Tres Generaciones tequila. Yeah, I think I might take that right now. That's a big shot. I'm going to divide that in two. Save the other half for the second book. That was tasty. Very tasty. Always drink tasty tequila. That's Ash's tip for the day. You're like, no shit, dumbass. Of course I'm gonna. I mean, drink good tequila. So if you're drinking Jose Cuervo, you're doing it wrong. If you're absolutely like, well, Ash, I don't like spending a lot of money on liquor. I just want to do some shots and get wasted. At least get yourself some Sauza Commemorativo. Look that up. Go to the liquor store. If your liquor store is worth a shit, Sauza Commemorativo, it is the best bang for your buck. It's not the best tequila, but for the price. And you can get it for like the same price as a bottle of Cuervo, and it is good. Like it's not gonna be Don Julio, but it's gonna be good. Sauza makes a lot of other stuff too. Sauza does make cheap. Don't get this cheap Sauza that just has big Sauza on the cover. Don't do that. Get it. The Commemorativo is the big. Tres Generaciones is also made by Sauza. I didn't actually know that until I bought the bottle. I've heard of Tres Three Generations. I'm just gonna say that. I've heard of Three Generations before a lot. I knew it had a good reputation, but didn't know. And then looked and said, "Oh, no wonder I like it." But it's not my favorite. I don't know if I'd buy this again. Not because it's not good, but for the same price. Well, that's not true. Not for the same price. Don Julio is crazy expensive. I think Don Julio right now is my favorite tequila, followed by Patron Añejo. But I haven't had Patron Añejo in forever because both of those things are like $60, $70 a bottle. Tequila's gone up fucking through the roof. It's retarded. Whatever. Let's get to the chat, see who's here tonight. Melissa is Frist. Good to see you, Melissa. She says, oh, she changed her name. Melissa Harrison Sons. And sons? You have more than one son? I thought you just had one son. Wow. Dragon Majesty says, welcome back, Ash. Thank you, Dragon Majesty. Here's your silver medal. Tehillim says, Damian Wayne Robin coming back to DC present continuity in April. Super Sons, yay. Except that Damian Wayne is no longer Robin. Whatever. I don't like what DC's doing. So Damian Wayne's gonna be running off by himself without a dad. No, whatever. Dumb. I'm sorry, Tehillim. I know you're a big fan and you don't like hearing people say negative things about the Super Sons or Jonathan or Damian, but I don't like what DC's doing with them. Let's see. Lord is here. He says hi. Dominic Powell's also in the house. Good evening, he says. Eric Breen. Good to see you. Good. I haven't talked to you in a while, buddy. We should maybe talk sometime. I know you've been real busy, though, managing the store and doing stuff, so I understand. Hope you're feeling okay. Let's see. Tehillim's preparing some stuff for his channel. Go check that out. Marania's in the house. Tells everyone welcome. You are all welcome here. If you happen to be stumbling along this channel for the first time, or this is just one of the first times you've viewed it, or just actually this show, the whole premise of this show is just talking comics. It's just me, some jackhole in Southern California, getting on a mic in the middle of the night while you're getting ready for bed, tucking yourself in, hopefully having a fine beverage. Doesn't have to be alcoholic. I'm not trying to promote, getting drunk or anything. I'm not trying to do that. Just if it's a Coca-Cola, I know Eric Breen's drink of choice is Coke Zero. Marania likes mocha. She calls it chocolate coffee because she lives in a strange part of the world. Whatever it is, you'd have something good, Sit back. Skip and Tosh is in the house. I know he's a tea fan. He likes to brew up some tea. Sometimes sipping a nice hot tea is nice and relaxing. I should probably do that, honestly. Take some tips from him, because as a streamer, when you're sitting here just talking non-stop, man, your throat and your vocal cords get real dry. Probably is very good, helpful on that. RDV's also here. He says, tonight is starting off fun. Pulled an upper back muscle by my left shoulder blade while shoveling snow. Well, that does sound like fun, RDV. Sorry to hear that. Welcome to getting old. Sucks, doesn't it? I'm sorry. Hope you're feeling better. He says, I'm about to take a pain pill and watch the stream high as a kite. All right. Normally when I take pain pills, it just numbs some pain. I don't know what you're taking that's going to get you high as a kite. You're going to be dropping like some Percocet or something? I don't know. I don't want to know. I don't want to know. Just don't mix it with alcohol. Let's see. Dragon Majesty says, thanks again for the coasters. Oh, I'm jealous. I want some coasters. It'd be a nice coaster to go with my Heineken. Ouch. Hope the feels better soon, RDV, says Marania. Good to see you, Skip. I always like it when you can make my show. I know it's a little late for you, but if you can be here part of it. FYI, just a reminder, anyone who is an Epic level member on the Discord channel, Purple Room is open if you want to swing by. It's my little experimentation thing before I do the comic reading. If you want to swing in, get on a mic, chat some comics. It's a lot easier to do when you have someone that talks back. I'm not a professional radio DJ, so streaming my consciousness like I'm doing is something I've been practicing, getting way better than I used to be, but it's tough. It can be real tough. Let's see. Coffee sounds good. Might have a tea myself. Oh yeah, the coffee does sound good, actually. I'm one of those people that I get in the mood for coffee, and then coffee is like one of the best things ever. But then I also get kind of burned out, and I'm just like, I don't want any coffee. So I go through these, it's like a weird up. It's not one of those things I can have all the time, but when I want it, I'm like, yeah, some coffee. It's kind of the same thing with beer too, actually. I don't just drink beer all the time. I know you guys, when you hear me, you're like, I'm always cracking open a can. It probably sounds like I just drink. I really don't. I just drink on my streams or if I'm lucky enough to be invited on someone else's stream, like Perch has invited me on a stream a couple of times on his Friday night drinking comic stream or whatever he calls it. It's kind of the tradition, you're drinking something, so I'll drink something there. But that's it. Like otherwise I'm drinking iced tea. Iced tea is a big thing. I drink a lot of iced tea, or some soda. Soda's my vice. It's really bad for you, but what are you gonna do? Let's see. Reading Emperor Doom as a warm-up for the story time. Emperor Doom. That's not the Chuck Dixon one, is it? I have a series of Doom books. The Doom, The Emperor Returns is what it's called. And it's... How do I say it? It's a Doom book, but it's Chuck Dixon. But there's a prequel I found out, so I didn't read them. And I've been trying to find them. Originally, they weren't even available on Comixology. Now they are. But let me see if I can find them real quick here. If you guys have anyone, I've never heard anyone talk about these books ever. Where is it? Where are you? This one. Okay, so this is the one that I don't have. This is the first one. It's just called Doom, I guess. It's written by Chuck Dixon. I've never heard anyone talk about it. It's a 3-issue miniseries. I don't have it on the screen, do I? Sorry. Let's fix that. Here you go. I'm such a noob. So this is called, Doom. You didn't miss anything but me searching around anyway. Has anyone read this series? Or the sequel series, which I read. So that's Doom. And then there it is. This is the one that I bought. I found this in a comic book store one day. I was just browsing and I was like, what? I've never heard of this. And it's Doom the Emperor Returns. I didn't know anything about it. But check this out. Like the mask that he's wearing, it's the Spanish gladiator mask that rap star, what is it, MF Doom? I'm not familiar. Skip knows him. He just unfortunately passed on, I guess. This is the mask he wore. It's a cool looking mask. I like Chuck Dixon as a writer. Look at that. There you go, Venkman. I know Venkman's already just like, hell yeah, I'm gonna read this book. You put scantily clad hot chicks in a book, and Venkman is all over it. You put Dr. Doom in a book, and I care more about Dr. Doom than us. Again, I'm getting too old. Anyways, so that's that. I'll probably get to your answers in 10 minutes. Let's see if I can catch up on the chat. Where was I? Zach Richards is in the house. He says, what up, people? Got my coffee and some home-baked cookies. Oh, what kind of cookies? I do like me some cookies. I got some cookies today. The convenience store does fresh baked cookies. Crazy. And some oatmeal raisin. They're really good. And they're like 3 for $1. And they're like fresh baked, really good. That kind I like where they're moist and chewy, but they're not just like a soft, doughy cookie. I don't like that. Like the store-bought cookies, often you get the soft cookies. The whole thing is just soft. What I like is when you can bite into the cookie and there's like a level of crispness to the cookie, like that's toasted because it's a baked thing, but it's done in such a way that it's only just so much, and as you bite into it, it's soft afterwards, and that's the perfect. These cookies are damn good. Let's see. Who else? Dragon Majesty says, all hell Vicodin. RDV's having Vicodin to... Dude, you don't do that. Don't F with that shit. Do you remember Heath Ledger? You remember him? Yeah, we don't have him anymore. Because don't do dumb stuff like that. Please. Let's see. Eric says, waiting for my test result. Tomorrow I find out if I have the vid. Oh, did you make a vid? You going to find out if it got uploaded or not? The vid. Oh, the coof, huh? You got a coof test? Don't worry, Eric. Those tests aren't even accurate. So I don't know if I told you guys, my buddy that I roommate with, he has shared custody of his kids. So he gets his kids every other week, which is kind of part of the reason why my schedule is so wonky, at least for like streaming and stuff. Well, at their mother's house, she remarried, so they have a stepfather. He tested positive for COVID. So then we had to have like a isolation quarantine period, where you can't switch houses and blah, 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 blah. Then he got tested again. Oh, guess what? You don't have COVID. Wait, so the first test? What about that? Oh, we don't know. And I was asking my buddy, because he actually works in the medical field, and I was like, explain this a little bit more. And he's like, yeah, the COVID tests, they're not always accurate. Like, you get it and you test positive, then we presume that you have it. But I'm like, so you may not actually have it though. Correct. But you test positive for it. Correct. And then you get tested again and it tests negative, which means you don't have it. Maybe. I was like, what's the point of this? This is so stupid. So apparently, my question, I didn't ask him this because it's not really his concern. He's not a political person at all. He gets kind of annoyed when I go into politics and stuff. But my thought process was like, I was like, well, if that's the case, I'm wondering how many people have died and they just, oh, look, the test, it says they had COVID. Oh, that's a COVID death. And they don't actually even have it. Anyways, I'm not going to go down that rabbit hole, but anyway, I just hope you feel better, Eric. Eric says the flu is way worse than what I have. More like a cold. I lost my sense of smell, but not taste. Sense of smell is already slowly coming back. Well, good. If you're on the upswing, that's a good sign. Like if you're not degressing, if you're progressing. So good to see you. Comic Boom is in the house. Nice to see you. I'm a fan of Comic Boom's channel. I'm always get giddy when a person whose channels or one of that I listen to or watch shows up in my stream. I'm like, oh, that's kind of cool. Thanks for showing up, buddy. I like watching your show. I watched you guest on a stream tonight, and I gotta watch more of your stuff. He does. If you guys haven't watched Comic Boom, you probably have. If you're watching my show, I'm sure you watch Comic Boom. He does some he does actual comic reviews, something I've been on hiatus of. I really want to do more. Let's see. I've just been on such a downer because, when I came back into the comic hobby, Marvel, which was I'm a big fan of in theory, they were just terrible. Just awful. I couldn't stand to see anything that Marvel was doing. This was 2017. I was like, oh, what the heck, This is the time when, Gogurt Hulk was running around and Thor wasn't even Thor. And you remember that time. We call it the dark times. I just like, no, not for me. And then DC, which is something that, I liked Batman comics. They were cool. Like, everyone likes Batman. But DC was never my thing as a kid. I was like, you know what? A lot of people really liking DC and all this stuff. I'm going to check out this stuff. Got into Rebirth, loved it. And it was really fun and exciting because I didn't know. It was kind of like being a noob again, which is cool. You get to discover new characters and universes. And that fun when you first got into comics and you didn't know who the X-Men were. You were like reading the books like, oh, this is neat. Who are these Avengers guys? I don't know. Let's read the books and find out. That's a fun time. What I notice is a lot of modern readers are really intimidated. They're like, I don't know. I don't want to read this comic. I don't know who this character is. And I'm like, I scratch my head because I remember when I was a kid, I'd go to the comic book store and I just look on the shelf and I'd see a cover. And if the title sounded cool and the cover looked cool, I'd be like, oh, what's this? That's how I got into Iron Man. I don't know who Iron Man was. Back then there was no MCU. I got into comics because of X-Men, And then I saw an Iron Man comic and a really cool cover. I don't remember which it was, unfortunately, but just Iron Man looked badass. And the name Iron Man, I mean, it's a great name. I was like, I gotta check this out. Then I saw a Thor comic. Now I had a little bit of, insight on that because I'm a kind of a fan already of Norse mythology. So I was like, there's a comic book about Thor? I gotta read this. So but I'd never read the comic. I didn't know anything about it other than it was Thor and he had a hammer, But a lot of people today I notice are like, I don't know. I don't know if I want to read that. I don't know who that character is. I'm like, I don't want to have to be bothered, like, doing all this research to catch up. Like, you'll just dive in. Like, the not knowing is part of the fun. Like, geez, I've been reading DC for 3 years now, and I still barely know anything about the Green Lantern Corps. I'm just like, it's some of the mythology at DC is so convoluted. I'm a very enthusiastic Hawkman fan, thanks to the Robert Venditti run. But I know barely anything about Hawkman's lore and history, and there's so much of it. And people are like, oh, you got to go read Hawkworld, go read this. I'm like, okay. But it's cool because I get to read things and go, oh, that's neat. You only get that one time. I think you should embrace it. Comic Boom is drinking Crown and Coke. Very good. Very good. Yeah, I believe you're up north in the land of the maple. So Crown would probably, I believe that's the national, this is the national drink up there. Let's see. Oh, stupid chat, skipping again. Stone Cold on beers. Oh, Ashton Comics. Okay. Joshua Williamson on Robin. Joshua Williamson, good writer. Good writer. Robin solo book, but not being in Batman bums me out. So Emperor Doom is a graphic novel by David Michelini from 1987, says Eric. Ash, I've been pushing the David Michelini graphic novel to you for a long time. The one Eric's reading. I just got scolded. Sorry. All hope lies in Doom. Nice. Listen to Chuck Dixon's videos on YouTube. Chuck is a YouTuber. I didn't believe it was him at first until I listened to it more. Cool. I should probably check that out sometime. I do notice that sometimes, like, creators aren't good YouTubers. Not that I'm a great YouTuber, but you know what I'm saying? Like, just, I go and watch some of these videos of, like, artists and writers, and I'm like, I'm bored to tears. And I think it's because they look at the hobby as a pro, as a creator, not necessarily as a fan. And I look at it as a fan. So I don't relate to them, right? I like listening to people like Comic Boom, who's a fan. Like, so that enthusiasm that he has. Or sometimes when he's frustrated because he's reading a stupid Bendis comic, and he's upset that what Bendis is, like, I empathize. Sometimes he speaks and it, like, echoes my thoughts, and that relation as a fellow fan. You guys understand. You're listening to a live stream right now. I don't need to preach to you about that. So yeah, I often don't listen to pros because of that. Because I'm just like, oh, this is just boring stuff. It says, yeah, Eric didn't feel like death for 3 weeks like I did when I had the flu. Well, that's because you're taking, like, Vicodin and tequila. Your immune system's probably shot to hell. You're probably just like, if you get the COVID, you're done. Let's see. I probably skipped some chats, but I need to get down to the nitty gritty. We're going to be reading some Spider-Man comics tonight. Oh yeah, I got interrupted myself when I was talking about the whole purpose of this show. I sit here and I talk about comics, and it's usually for the first half hour or sometimes longer, waiting for people to kind of roll in. I read some comments. That's often, sometimes I have something to say, it's been on my mind. If I don't, I kind of just wing it and go up the comments. And then I read a couple of comics. Currently I'm doing a format that I'm experimenting with, where I just do a series of one comic and bang it out. And that way you can have it in the history. If you miss it, you can just go go back and read them all in order and find them easy. And they're nice and labeled. And you go, but Ash, I don't want to have to sit through and listen to your BS for 45 minutes on every replay, which I hear you. The good thing about replay is you can fast forward. You just put your mouse over the little tracker thing, and you just drag it over until you see the Spider-Man comic pop up like you do on the screen, except full screen, because I'll be doing it full screen. And then hey, this is where I go. And then sometimes people in the audience they're nice enough to put a timestamp because I'm lazy. You can skip over to that. Let's see. I need to try some of that Canadian whiskey I keep seeing at the liquor store. Is that Crown Royal? That's the only Canadian whiskey I think I've ever had, which I like. It's one of the early whiskeys, but it's a harsher whiskey. I've noticed at my taste, I'm more of a smooth, mellow kind of guy. I really prefer bourbons, and I recently got caught up on turned on to Maker's Mark 46. It's a special batch blend. It's really, really smooth. I recommend trying that if you're at all a whiskey person sometime. And you don't want to have to, if you are a real whiskey person, you probably spend a lot more money and buy better stuff. But if you don't want to break the bank, but you want a good whiskey, but don't use it to mix. That would make me sad. If you want to mix, use Crown. That's probably good. Chuck Dixon is a nice guy, says Melissa. I never really worried about the amount of books in the Marvel line. I tended to stay in two lanes, Iron Man and Avengers, for the most part. Well, if you only like one thing, I guess it doesn't matter, right? But Neil Adams' Facebook live streams are the worst. Worse than watching paint dry. He doesn't go crazy like he does on Twitter. Zach says, whoa, are we getting some Natasha Romanoff tonight? Oh, keen eye there, Zach. Ronnie says, by that silhouette, I would say that we are. All right, ladies and germs. I have now caught up on the chat. That's another thing I like to have this delay start because it lets you guys roll in some chats. I did this in the beginning, and I would just start and go. And there'd be like a couple people in the room, no chats, and I'm just like, da-da. So this works out really better. Oh, before we get started, I just want to get this off my mind. I finished The Mandalorian tonight. I'm not going to spoil anything, no spoilers here. But for those of you who've seen it, you'll understand what I'm talking about. And those of you who haven't seen it, I'm not spoiling anything. But that last episode, something happens at the end. And it is the biggest piece of Deus Ex Machina I think I may have ever seen. It would make Brian Michael Bendis proud. I was like, what the hell is going on here? For those of you who don't know what Deus Ex Machina is, it's like hand of God, I think. I forget exactly how it translates out of Latin. But it's basically a technique when a writer is writing a plot, story, and then the resolution to the plot, the conflict, which is the ultimate, third act of the plot, the resolution is something that just sort of comes out of nowhere. Like maybe you have a hero. Maybe it's a fantasy story about a knight fighting off the evil dark overlord of the land who's enslaving everyone, and he finally gets to the castle of the evil overlord, and he's gonna fight the evil overlord, and the overlord's like beating him down and stuff. You're like, oh no, what's gonna happen to our knight? And then a meteor comes out of the sky and crashes on the overlord and kills him. And in the end, you're like, oh, that was fortunate. That's kind of how The Mandalorian ends. You're like, oh my god, it's dire straits. What's gonna happen? Oh, meteor just came out of the sky and took care of everything. I mean, not exactly. That's not what happened, but in an analogy sense, without spoiling anything. And I was just like, what? And the problem is it could have been really cool. I'm like, I like meteors. I would have loved to have seen this done right. but I didn't feel that it was. And I was of mixed feelings because I cared. I was like, you could have done this so much better, but instead you just pulled a Brian Michael Bendis where Supergirl shows up at the end and zaps Rogol Zar with the stupid gun that sends him to the Phantom Zone. Just like, oh, the end. I was like, this is so... God, these people are getting paid so much money to write this stuff. Anyways, I'm frustrated. I don't hate The Mandalorian, but man, there's so much that I just could criticize. I'm like, this is cheap BS writing. Like, if this was not Star Wars, if you didn't just lay it on the constant fan service, no one would be really caring about this show. It would be, I wouldn't say no one, because like you got shows like, I'm not going to name them because I'm going to piss people off, certain other sci-fi TV shows that all just have their fans, no matter how crappy they are. You're like, people are like, oh, I love this show. All right, it's your show. So, but I just, anyways, I just wanted to get that off my chest. Yeah, that's it. Zach says, what's wrong with fan service? Nothing's wrong with fan service when it's a side dish meant to accompany the main entree. But when that's all you have, when that's what your show is just a tour, like, you know, I said on my Discord, I posted, I was like, they should just rename the show to Star Tours, because that's all they do is they just tour Star Wars and like, oh, look, that thing from that movie that you liked, there it is. And look, there over there is the other thing that you liked. Remember this character who was in this movie? There they are here. Like, it's all it's doing constantly is like, oh, look, this, oh. It feels like a Disney ride. It doesn't, and yet there's a place for that, but I would rather be making new lore than just being a museum for old lore. RDV says, we need fan service on this channel. Melissa says, the Phantom Zone projector, it sends villains to dangerous for Superman to lock up in the Phantom Zone. Yes, that's what that does. So in the Man of Steel miniseries by Brian Michael Bendis, spoiler alert, for those of you who haven't read it, this is a minor spoiler, but Rogol Zar, one of the greatest villains, one of the most dangerous villains Superman's ever faced, theoretically may have been the reason Krypton blew up, fights Superman through this book, shows up to kill Superman. Superman can't beat him. He's fighting him, and you're like, oh, he's down the ropes. The last issue, what's Superman gonna do? And then Supergirl shows up at the Phantom Zone projector. Bzz, zot, the end. And that's Deus Ex Machina. So that really made me mad. I was like, that's not how you write. And for someone who held a professorship at a university to teach writing, that's inexcusable. This is inexcusable. This is like, I would do elementary school writing. You wouldn't accept this. It's just, I'm frustrated. Anyways, if I read a child's homework story that they had to write for a creative writing or something, I would not be. But when you're a top level professional, it's not excusable. RDV says, dance, monkey, dance. Uh-oh, gotta get to it. All right, so tonight we have been reading through Marvel Masterworks volume number 9. This is the Stan Lee comics, some Silver Age Spider-Man. These books have been brought to you by our sponsor, RDV, the real Dr. Venkman, except no substitutions. So I have been reading through this. I do not know how many more issues we have to go because I was too lazy to look ahead. Hopefully you enjoy them. These issues have been pretty fun to read. If you're a kind of person that maybe hasn't experienced 60s, I think this is late 60s Spider-Man. Eric Breen would know for sure. He could tell me. I wish he were here. This might be your time. Maybe you don't want to go out and buy these books. I would, urge you to support things you like. That's how we keep getting things we like. My thing is here, I'm promoting it. and also giving you some commentary so you can get my impression. This is a cold read for me. I have never read these. Like I said, these were provided by Venkman, so you're going to get my impressions and what I think about them. If some things come off silly or corny, I might embellish them that way. Nothing here has been stupid, so I don't expect that to happen. But sometimes when they are stupid, I mock the book. So let's get right into it. RDV says his book came out in 1965. He thinks. Well, that's what the Google's for. In the meantime, this is Amazing Spider-Man issue 86. Beware the Black Widow. And here we go. I can't wait to get home. I'm still reeling from that blow I took when I had to fight the Kingpin. Editor note, it happened right here last-ish, as if you didn't know, says Stanley. I wonder how other costume swingers go from battle to battle without taking a break. They must know something that I don't. Spider-Man. He swung by so fast, he didn't even notice me. In which a sensational new costume adventurer comes into being, and you are there, sharing the excitement and the action. Produced by Stan Lee, the author, John Romita, and Jim Moody, the illustrator, Sam Rosenletterer. Why didn't I think of him before? He'd be the perfect answer to everything I need, especially now when I've decided to begin my career anew. If I could learn the secrets of Spider-Man's powers and then combine them with my own, then no one would be able to stop the Black Widow. Dun dun dun. Nalo, right in time. He says, hello, hello. Hello, hello to you. Might as well face it. I can't spend my life just being Madame Natasha. There are too many tragic memories that never stop haunting me. Memories that won't let me rest, that won't let me sleep, that won't let me ever know peace. And my only escape is the forgetfulness that action and danger can bring. Now, even now, the torment of the past comes rushing back to haunt me. I still remember that fateful day I was commissioned as a spy for my native land behind the Iron Curtain. And if you fail, the life of your husband will be forfeit. You shall have the mighty Crimson Dynamo to serve you. Oh, time out. I know who that is because I read Iron Man. Crimson Dynamo is an Iron Man villain. Oh, speaking of which, here he is. Thus, Madame Natasha was transformed into the costumed Black Widow. I was given powers enough to be a challenge to Iron Man. But then came my undoing the day I met Hawkeye. Editor's note, longtime Marvelites will remember these and the following sequences from many of our older mags, too numerous to list. Besides, I forgot the issue numbers, says Stan. Oh, look, and there's a picture of Crimson Dynamo. He didn't look like that when I read him. He looked way cooler. Though we both know our romance was hopeless from the start, fate had turned two enemies into star-crossed lovers. I'll never forget you, Natasha. Never. Then, in an effort to escape, to lose my heartbreak in the seething whirlpool of adventure, I served the Avengers and the dedicated agents of Nick Fury's shield. Don't try to warn me of danger. I want the assignment. If you say so, lady. How could I have known? How could I have suspected that my efforts would be Rewind, take two. How could I have known? How could I have suspected that my efforts would contribute to the death of the Red Guardian, the man who had been my own husband. Special Ash note: see the Red Guardian in the new upcoming Black Widow film, coming out maybe someday. Who knows if COVID? No, I don't know. It's coming sometime. 2022 maybe. Finally, I could bear the torment no longer. I had to leave, to flee from everything, from everyone who was a link to my tragic, guilt-ridden past. I mustn't turn back. I mustn't ever turn back. But now I know that living a life of ease and luxury as the wealthy, pleasure-seeking Madame Natasha is not the answer for me. I've become a leader of the jet set, and I have hated every moment of it. I've got to become the Black Widow once again. I've got to do what I do best, to fulfill my destiny, to help me forget the haunted past. And in order to erase every last vestige of that past, I'll begin by designing a new costume for myself. RDV says, Ash, full screen. Oh, shit. Aye, aye, Commander. Full screen ahead. See what I did there? Zach says, everyone always underestimates a man with a bow and arrows. That's because you should. There's a reason bows and arrows aren't used in anything except competitions and for hunters who really want a challenge. That's it. Sorry, I have a pet peeve and a prejudice towards bow and arrow characters, especially bow and arrow characters that just have bows and arrows. I always thought to myself, I was like, if they maybe like made a character who had some sort of like mystical bow that was like really powerful, did more than just kind of like Thor's hammer, right? It's not just a hammer. He just didn't. I'd be like, okay, that'd be kind of cool. I think they did that in Red Hood, didn't they? With the Outlaws, didn't Artemis? She got like that special bow. I was like, oh, finally, cool. But when you're just shooting like normal like bow and arrow, I'm like, this is silly. And especially, sorry, I'm not going to go off on Kate Bishop on how stupid that is, but there's real reasons why. RDB says, now start over so we can actually see what you read. You can see what I read. The thumbnail's not that small. Plus, I'm doing frame by frame. So anyways, not true. Back in the day, arrows could take down a warhorse and go through armor. Rania, come on. Come on. You're talking what? 800 years ago? Yes. A person riding on a horse, you could kill their horse with a bow and arrow. Yes, because we didn't have a thing called guns. As soon as guns were invented, bows were pretty much gone. I mean, not even like rifles. I'm like muskets. Bows and arrows are profound. They're profoundly bad at things. And also remember, when you're taking down when you've got like 3,000 archers all lined up in a row, and then they all can be trained to fire at the same time at the same target, and you're like raining down arrows, that's a big difference than like one dude with a bow and arrow. Anyways, I'm not going to continue on with that. Not Josie, but there are all kinds of special arrows, like boomerang arrows. That's true. I did discount the boomerang arrows. Zach says, but seriously, boomerang arrows are awesome. Ron, even today, if you use a 50-pound bow, you could do damage, if not kill someone. Well, sure, you can kill someone with a ball peen hammer, right? Like, that doesn't mean, like, you can be running around as a superhero fighting super villains. That's where it's stupid. Not that some guy has a bow and arrow and he goes out in the wilderness and he shoots a deer and brings it home and serves his family for months on end. You know, like, I don't care. I think bows are cool. I took archery for a while. Like, I've gone bow hunting. I like bows and arrow. I don't like some dude running around with a bow and arrow and he's a superhero because he shoots a bow. Like, that just, sorry, it's never worked for me. Just like, I'm just like that. It's as dumb to me as Harley Quinn running around with a baseball bat or a giant mallet. I'm like, oh yeah, it's just some psychiatrist who never really learned to fight. I guess she took some gymnastics when she was in college, and now she can take on the Trinity with a mallet. That makes sense. I'm sorry, my suspension of disbelief. I just can't let myself. It's ludicrous to me. Dragon Mask says green arrow is cool. Armor-piercing arrow tips do exist. Assassins use them, much quieter than a gun. Sure, if you're an assassin and you're running around and you're telling a story about an assassin killing someone with bone, like, I don't have a problem with that. Again, I have a problem with a guy taking on Dr. Doom with a bow and arrow. That's all. Especially when you're running around next to a guy who wears a suit of armor that can fly and shoot repulsor beams and all sorts of stuff. And you're like, oh yeah, but I got my bow and arrow, I'm fine. What? You sure you wouldn't like some rockets, maybe? Guided missiles? I don't know. Something different. Repulsor beams. Maybe give Hawkeye a suit of armor. I don't know. Sorry. Anyone versus Doom is unbelievable, Ash. No, it's not. Iron Man took on Doom some memorable times. That was cool. Anyways, I'm going to get back to the story. You guys are all distracting me. I blame RDV. Always blame RDV. Anyways, here we go. And in order to erase every last vestige of that past, I'll begin to design a new costume for myself. Look at that. This is where you get the new, sexy, all-leather costume. Nice. And then I'll search for Spider-Man. Why do I feel so tired, so groggy? And for those of you who thought we'd forgotten the star of our little saga, I must be coming down with something. I can't wait to hit the sack. Oh no. Of all the times to have company. Sorry, I didn't see that Spider-Man was in the background. I was like reading the letter. I was like, okay, following the little dots. I'm like, okay, is that Gwen thinking this? I just totally missed it. It was Spider-Man back there. Take two. Oh no. Of all the times to have company. Don't be worried, dear. I'm sure Peter's all right. We're bound to hear from him soon. I never know where he goes, Gwen, but he always comes back okay. I can't bear to see Gwendy so upset. I've got to get in there as Peter Parker and soon. Besides, I'm feeling too shaky to stay out here much longer. Thwip. Got it. Now for the shadowy side of the building. Oops, almost slipped just then. I wonder how long they've been in the room. How much do they suspect? Well, I've managed to keep my secrets so far. If my luck holds out, there's no reason why. If only my head would stop throbbing. Well, here goes. Hey, group. Don't tell me I missed a party. Peter, it's you. You're all right. I told you he'd be back. He always gets hungry at feeding time. I know I should act angry and hard to get, but, I missed you, man o' mine. Captain Stacy, why is he looking at me that way? What happened to your face, son? Peter, I didn't notice. You've been hurt. Nuts. I forgot. I must be bruised from my fight with Kingpin. It was Spider-Man. He did it to you, didn't he? When he came here before, looking for you, I knew he was dangerous. I could sense it. Editor note. Another development from last ish, remember? Stan. If I agree, she'll end up hating Spider-Man. But what else can I say? Can't tell her Peter Parker was battling the Kingpin, and I'm too clumsy a liar to dream up something new. Peter, if you're in any sort of trouble... I'm not in trouble. Why does everyone keep hounding me? Easy, Pete. Easy. Don't lose your temper. What's wrong with me? Hounding you? Is that all you can say to people who worry about you? Who want to help you? Is that how you feel about a girl who loves you? Gwen, forgive me. I didn't mean to snap like that. I wouldn't hurt you for anything in the world. If you really mean that, I want you to make me a promise. Anything, honey, anything. Promise you'll never have anything to do with Spider-Man again. He's too dangerous. Those photos you take of him aren't worth the risk. But she's only asking me for my own good because she loves me. I can't deny her again. And yet, how can I pledge her the impossible? You can call me when you promise. I'll drive you both home. Pause. Gwen Stacy, she's a handful. She is a little bit high maintenance. She's a little bit up and down. I'm like, okay, you're a cute girl. You obviously really like Peter, but man, she's like just like, I love you, but don't call me until you promise. Like, whoa, like high maintenance. Yeah, no. Which is good. It's good that this is happening because I was reading these issues before and I was like, man, I'm kind of liking Gwen even better than Mary Jane. Like, so it's good that Gwen's not perfect, right? That's because you want to see her as not Mrs. Right for Peter. Hardy V says MJ is better. Gwen is bipolar. Yeah. I'm seeing that. All right, back to the action. Captain Stacy, you know how I feel about Gwen. I wouldn't hurt her for anything, but I understand, son. But Gwen is a female, and like all females, she thinks with her heart. She feels you're keeping something from her, and that's hard to take for a girl in love. This just in, Captain Stacy has been canceled. Moving on, sorry. How much more does he suspect about me than he'll admit? If only this dizziness would pass and I could think clearly. I've been in fights before, been injured before, but never felt like this. My spider strength never failed me. It always brought me a quick recovery. But what if I'm finally losing it? What if I've been in one fight too many? Can't shake this feeling of lethargy and dullness. Couldn't even study if I tried. But maybe it's just as well. I'm glad that I'm groggy. Glad it's hard to think. Anything's better than facing the fact that I might be losing Gwen. And now that we've concluded one of the longest scene-setting introductions in comic book history, let's see if we can get our story going while we're still young enough to care. Oh my God, Stan is the man. Only Stan could write that. That's so rad. So self-deprecating, like just like all right. I don't know if maybe I'm over. I've had a little bit to drink, not a lot. Just this is my second drink. It may not be as fancy, but this new costume will be more in keeping with the swinging 70s and with the modern image of the new Black Widow. This chain belt I've added will be more than decorative. It'll hold my spare web line and store the powerlets from my widow bites. Snap. There. With my modified wrist shooters in position, I'm ready for anything. But no matter how effective my powers may be, they're just like a female imitation of the original wall-crawling, web-shooting Spider-Man, Zat. And since the Black Widow has no intention of living on the shadow of another, I've got to go after Spider-Man and snare him. See what makes him tick. Spzz. If his powers should prove to be greater than mine, I've got to learn how and why. Whatever his secret may be, I've got to find it and use it for the benefit of the new Black Widow. And so my first task must be to find Spider-Man. And then, when I do, I must prove myself his equal or learn the reason why. Zach's like, bow, chicka, wow, wow. I admit to liking the Black Widow costume a lot. Simple, elegant, she looks even more deadly, says Maranya. Yep, I agree. The original Black Widow costume, I consider this the original, not that joke that was before. This costume is classic, like very iconic. I don't understand why they keep changing it. I hate when they put her in a white. I'm like, what are you doing? She's the Black Widow. Why is she wearing a white costume? I also hate when they make her hair blonde. I'm looking at you, MCU. Kevin Feige. Yeah, Russo brothers. Yes, I know. You got all the actors didn't want to cut their hair, dye their hair anymore, so we had short-haired Thor, blonde Black Widow, and emaciated Captain America because Chris Evans didn't want to work out anymore. Anyways, grumbling over. I'm curious if they have Dee Dee ask about her new costume in the Dee Dee book when her issue came out. I don't know, RDV. That's a good question. RDV says the gray one was okay, but this version takes the cake. Yeah, the gray one is close enough to me. Like it's just a different shade. It's not all black. I could handle the gray one. Anyways, back to the action. Later, at the office of the Daily Bugle, Spider-Man swinging past. No, it isn't the wall crawler. It's a girl copying his act. That's all this blasted town needs. Another crummy web swinging and a female to boot. Spider-Man probably put her up to it to confuse everybody. I'd almost forgotten how glorious it feels to swing through the air, free as a bird. Now, all I need to do is wait for my prey. And speaking of the youth who seems to be on everybody's mind today, it's no use. The more I try to study, the groggier I get. I don't know what's wrong with me, but whatever it is, it's getting worse. I always wondered if my spider power would someday fade away. After all, there's no reason to think it would last forever. But it won't help to sit around feeling sorry for myself. If anything's wrong, I want to know it. And this is as good as any way to find out. Let's see. My power may be going away. Let me jump out this window and test it. Shit, power doesn't work. Splat. And that is the end of Spider-Man. Sorry. Moving on. If it isn't anything serious, then a good workout ought to clear my head. But if it is a case of losing my powers, I won't be able to keep this up much longer. Here comes that dizziness again. I'm beginning to fall. Thwip. Better play safe and use my webbing for support. Nuts. Of all the places for this to happen, I'm right outside of Jameson's office. Someone's at my window. Don't go bananas, bird brain. It's only me. You creep. I don't know what you're up to, but if you try any funny stuff around here... Not a chance, Chuckles. I'm too scared you'll pop me with a paperclip. Wait till the cops get you. Go join the silent majority. Anything to shut you up. Perhaps I ought to swing by Aunt May's. If I look in on her, it may stop me from thinking about myself so much. And as Spider-Man silently glides towards the modest little frame house in Forest Hills. I'm sure that this hot milk and cookies will help you to sleep, May dear. I don't know what can be keeping me awake tonight, Anna. Unless it's the fact that I haven't heard from Peter lately. I know I shouldn't worry, but... She's sure to be asleep at this hour. But I'll ask Anna Watson if... Oh no, it's her. She sees me. Anna! Yes, May? At the window, there's a face. No, dear. You mustn't let your imagination run away with you. You're all keyed up. That's why you can't sleep. I suppose you're right, Anna. The face isn't there anymore, but it seems so lifelike. Well, I almost did it again. Thanks to my own carelessness, I almost frightened the poor little old lady out of her wits. I'd better head back before something else goes wrong. But at that crucial moment, I found him at last. My spider sense. Why is it tingling? I'll announce myself with my widow's bite. Zack. He's falling, but I didn't strike him that hard. Is he playing possum or what? I'll let myself fall to get out of range till I know who's attacking me. Can't take any chances. I've got to catch him. There. I've got him safely tied to the girder. So now I can see what makes him tick. Whoever it is coming closer. I can sense it. He caught me off balance, broke my line kicking out with his free foot. Then he was playing possum. Now it's my turn. Snap. Thump. Have to swing to the wall, then see what I caught. A female. One that I never saw before. These aren't the ideal conditions for an introduction, but I'm called the Black Widow. The Black Widow? You used to be with the Avengers, but not in that getup. Anyway, the important thing is, why'd you attack me? Come closer and find out. Wow, chicka, wow, wow. Look, a girl can get hurt up here. Give me your hand and I'll help you down. Wow, Peter, that's really misogynist. Really. Jeez. Can't stay up here much longer. The way my head's spinning around. He's within range. Now to get him. Okay, Masked Man. Now we're even. Just don't think I'm helpless because I'm soft and cuddly. Oh, man. No one writes like Stan Lee. So... you just... Soft and cuddly? That kick felt like a Missouri mule. That was just for starters. Wait till you see the goodies that come next. What's wrong with him? Why doesn't he defend himself? The whole purpose of all this is for me to learn about his powers. But it's beginning to look like he doesn't have any. Zit. What's happened to my speed? I couldn't duck fast enough. got to rest, store up my strength, and at the same time, learn what she's up to. Look, Spider-Man, for a so-called living legend, you're a king-sized disappointment to me. I'm beginning to think Woody Allen could take you. Not that he'd want to. You're supposed to be the most dangerous opponent of all. That's why I tackled you. I wanted to learn what I could from you. I thought I'd discovered the secret of your power. Power. What a laugh. You're the biggest washout since the flood. You broke my line, but... I've heard enough, lady. No curvy carbon copy is going to swipe my style. There's only room for one Spider-Man in this town, and you're looking at him. The strain has me groggy again, but she mustn't suspect. Let's see what you can do now with your wrist gizmos stuffed with my web fluid. Flip, flip. He jammed them up. I can't fire. I was wrong about him. He must have been toying with me. I don't even come close to being his match. I've got my powers through training and unique weapons, but the way he moves and fights and uses his strength, it's like he was born that way. And so, whatever strange secrets Spider-Man may possess, they're bound to remain his own until he himself decides to give them away. And perhaps that's the way it should be. I have my own unusual powers, my own style of combat, and my own strange destiny to fulfill. So whatever dangers lie ahead, I'll face them my way, as the Black Widow. And if you've guessed this was our sneaky way of whetting your appetite for the appearance of Black Widow in her own monthly strip, Amazing Tales, on sale early May, you were right, perceptive one, Sly Stan. But now, back to the greatest one of all. Well, I managed to get her off my back, but it was lucky for me that she didn't want a return match. It took all the willpower I could muster not to toss in the sponge... take two. It took all the willpower I could muster not to toss in the sponge back there. I thought fresh air and exercise would get me back in shape, but I can't kid myself any longer. There is something wrong with me, and it's something no amount of web swinging will cure. I have to get home as soon as possible, while I can still make it on my own. Must take the chance that Harry will be asleep, because if he isn't, I couldn't make it back out again. Later, after a brief rest, if I go to a doctor, he might want to check my blood. It's the one thing I fear, the one thing that could reveal my secret. But what if my hunch is correct? What if I'm losing my spider power? What if my blood is turning normal? There's one way to find out. I've got to test it myself. I've got to know. And so, just one drop here on the slide. Now, all I have to do is look to learn whether I'll be Spider-Man no longer. Why can't I do it? Why am I stalling this way? After all these years, when I secretly wished I could be normal like everyone else, and now there's a chance of my wish coming true. Is that what I'm really afraid of? Next, Unmasked at Last. Do. All right. Ronnie says they made her hair blonde because she was hiding at the time from the events of Civil War. Not buying it. I'm not. And what about Thor? Why is his head all short? Why does he have short hair? And basically, they just had the same hairdos as they did out of the film. Anyways, Parker has a death wish. Confirmed, says Zach. Never understood the webbing under his arms. That would restrict the movement of his arms. I get that it looks cool, though. The reason the webbing is under the arms is because you grab. If you shot webs over, what I didn't like is this, when they did I think it was the black costume. Or no, I think this is Venom works this way. The webs kind of come out over the top of the back of the hand. But you can't grab. Like, if you put one hand on the back of the other, use the hand that's underneath to try to, you can't. You have to turn your hand around to grab. So if you had webbing coming out from the underside of your arm, your hand would be right there to, like, grab it. That's how I always took it. I'm not the official answer, but that's what it made sense to me. Oh, you're talking about the webbing under the, oh, sorry. You meant like the armpit webbing. I think I saw a documentary a while back on that. Like, one of the artists just drew it because it looked cool. And I think then later they tried to make explanations for it, like it helped him glide a little bit in the air or something. I don't know. The Spider-Man costume was created by a seminal Spider-Man artist, Steve Ditko. The webbing under the spider arms had no particular purpose other than ornamentation. But the next artist who took over got rid of it, didn't like it. Let's see. Unlike Spider-Woman's underarm webbing, which actually helped her fly, Spidey's webbing was just for visual effect, says Lord. The web was something Ditko did do on and off for years. They were drawn so large for a time they looked like wings, even under the other artist's question of the purpose. Let's see. I love how they write female in bold letters, says RDV. Words are related to what's happening in the page written in bold. Wait, is Natasha soft and cuddly? You'll never know, Zach. Quit dreaming. Zach says, wouldn't that be a Moscow Mule? Good point. But Moscow Mule is a drink. A very tasty drink. One of my favorites. It was only a matter of time before Spidey stuffed her with web fluids. Wow. They had this issue in the collection devoted to the origins of the Marvel superheroes. Thor got a haircut in Ragnarok, as I recall. Eric Breen says, Ash? Eric? Melissa says Venom is cool. Venom was dumb to be able to web swing. He would have none of his symbiote left since it was actually webbing like Peter's. It's his symbiote leaving pieces behind. Lol. Since it wasn't actually webbing like Peter's. No. When Peter had the black costume, it made webbing for him. He didn't use the web shooters. That was the whole thing. So yeah, no, I think I am pretty sure, since Eric is here, he can be our voice of, our voice of expertise. I believe Venom's webs are the exact same as symbiote Spider-Man webs. Anyways, Eric says, I thought your sound cut out. Oh, it probably did. YouTube hates me. But I'm still here. And it's time to have finish up that large shot of tequila. Dun, 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 dun. Ooh. A little salt and lime. Damn. RDV says, I think this is the last issue of the book. Well, that will work out just fine if it is. I've been enjoying this. Silver Age is still not my thing, but I definitely have a new appreciation, especially for this old Spider-Man. I thought these old Spider-Mans would be too corny and dumb. You know, you get that prejudice that older things are boring and dumb. I just don't know how to put it, you know. And it's true of, like, I think every generation. But I'm glad that I'm getting exposed, because I am enjoying this. I hope you guys are enjoying it. Hopefully I'm reading it well enough and presenting some entertainment. Hopefully some of you are still conscious and awake. We're going to be reading Amazing Spider-Man number 87. If you only read one mag this month, it must be this one. Unmasked at Last. If the slide shows a loss of radiation in my blood, it means the time has come. I'll be Spider-Man no longer. Wait a minute, time out. How the hell are you seeing radiation in your blood with a little optic microscope like that? I know it's the 60s, but come on. Come on, man. As our new upcoming president would say. Come on, man. As we saw last issue, Spider-Man has been slowly growing weaker. Finally, a desperate Peter Parker puts a drop of his own blood under a microscope to see if it can be finally losing his amazing radioactive power. Eric says, this comic's Joe Biden, just go with it. All right, Corn Pop, I'll just go with it. What's the matter with the microscope? I can't seem to get it into focus. Everything's blurred and fuzzy. No. It isn't the microscope. It's me. My eyes. Everything looks hazy to me. But I've got to know. I must find out what's happening to me. And yet, who can I turn to? Who can I trust without giving away my secret identity? Wait. There's one man. Dr. Kurt Connors. I saved his life more than once in the past when he had turned into the deadly, murderous lizard. Editor's note. As readers of some of our earlier issues are sure to remember, says Stan. He'd be willing to take Spider-Man's blood test without asking me to unmask. Wow. Easy, Spidey. I can hardly cling to the wall. Maybe I'll be better off swinging on my web? Thwip. Oh no. For the first time, the height is making me shaky. And my timing is off. I almost overshot the ledge. I was beginning to fear I'd never make it. But this is the building at last. Everything's so quiet. The whole office looks deserted. Doc Connors is my last chance. But if he isn't here, he isn't. All his clothes are gone, everything. He must have taken his family to his Florida lab. And that leaves me exactly nowhere. No regular doctor will help me without making me first unmask, and that's the one thing I dare not do. But I'm getting weaker by the minute. I have to do something. Can't let my powers just slowly slip away. It's terrible. I have to inch my way along like a feeble old man. If my powers are fading, will I stand a better chance with Gwen? Gwen! I just remembered. This is the night of her surprise birthday party. Oh, Spider-Man, you're such a heel. And I haven't even bought a gift. I've been so wrapped up in my own problems that I forgot the most important thing I had to do. I bet the party's already started, and I'm still out on a limb. I can't miss it, no matter what. But I mustn't arrive there empty-handed. What's the matter with me? I almost slipped again. I have to move fast before my strength fails completely. Not long ago, I could have ripped the steel door without trying. Now it's giving. These pearls, they'll make the perfect gift. Now, if I can just bring them to Gwendy in time. Wait, what's wrong with me? What am I doing? I can't let the loss of my powers turn me into a thief. Am I losing my mind as well? Am I turning into the menace that Jameson's always said I am? I can't do a thing like this. I can't. I can't let my whole web swinging career end with me being a crook. Gotta put them back. But now what do? Oh no. Everything is getting hazy again. I'm losing my grip. I can't hold on any longer. Thpow. That sinks it. I can't even be sure of my balance anymore. It means that Spider-Man has taken his final swing. I always wondered if and when I'd ever give up my secret identity. But now, fate has made that decision for me. Am I disappointed or am I relieved? My brain is so muddled that I can't even tell. But I can't sit here forever. I still have to do something about Gwen. I don't understand. This is one night I was sure Peter would be on time. What could have happened to him? He's my ever-loving buddy and all that, but he'd be late to his own funeral. With a temper like Gwendolyn's, that's just what it might be if he doesn't get here soon. Come on, Randy. Put some soul in it, man. The birthday girl can use up some cheering up. Get with it, Gwendy. No cat's worth getting all uptight about. I can't help it, Mary Jane. I've had the feeling for days that something's wrong with Peter. Have you any idea where Peter can be, Harry? No, sir, I haven't. No one in his right mind would stand up a girl like Gwen. Finally. Well, I can't put a damper on my own party. Atta girl, gorgeous. Go, Gwendy, go. I liked her better quiet. She was less competition. That's so catty, Mary Jane. Oh, my goodness. Ed Brewer, welcome, buddy. Good to see you. Then, after the party has played itself out, it was a blast, Gwen. But what'll you do for an encore? Nothing. After this, I stopped counting birthdays. She's trying to sound cheerful, but I know, son. Her heart is with Peter. Everyone else is gone now, so we might as well, Gwen. Aw, turn off the waterworks, honey. He isn't worth it. Forgive me for acting like such a child. I just can't help it. Look, in the doorway. Peter! In his hand. What's he holding? I had to tell you. Can't keep it a secret anymore. Spider-Man is finished. His career ended forever. I'm the only one who could know that because I'm Spider-Man. I'm sorry for all the trouble I may have caused. Peter, what are you saying? What's happened to you? The boy is ill, feverish. There's something wrong with him. I didn't think that they'd take it like this. Gwen is on the verge of hysteria. Easy, Gwen. Easy, my dear. What have I done to the girl I love? I've got to go. Now. I must have been mad. Why did I do it? What did I prove? Why is my head spinning this way? Why can't I think? Am I losing my mind? Dad, tell me I didn't see it. Tell me I didn't hear it. Tell me it was all a horrible dream. It couldn't have been Peter. Not my Peter. He's gone. He wasn't well, Gwen. Perhaps he didn't know what he was saying. We should have tried to stop him. You know, I seem to remember hearing something like this happen once before. It had to do with the time Spider-Man battled Dr. Octopus. According to the story I heard, Doc Ock caught him and started to unmask his enemy. And then, when the mask was torn away, the face beneath it was Peter Parker's. Editor's note, it happened in issue 12. If you don't believe us, ask Aunt May, says Stan. Parker, but how? But Ock soon realized Pete was just a nervy imposter and... Get that brat out of here. I want the real Spider-Man. Pete got a good bawling out for impersonating the web slinger in order to get some good news pics of Doc Ock. And that was the end of it. Fool, kid. Don't ever try anything like that again, hear? But now, what the heck would make him try it a second time? What if it wasn't an act the first time? What if he really is Spider-Man? But why his sudden confession? Wow, Gwendy, you sure can pick him. He's either a masked menace or a psycho case. Take your pick. Shut up! No matter what he is, what he's done, don't you dare talk about him like that. Jeez. Okay, Tigress, he's all yours. Meanwhile, a few blocks away. It's no use. I can't keep staggering around this way. I've got to find out what's wrong with me. I've got to know. It may be something even more serious than just losing my spider powers. Maybe the radioactivity in my blood has fatally affected me. Maybe I'm actually dying. Speaking of dying, Eric says he's cashing in. Good night, kids. Good night to you, Eric. Thanks for making it this late. We got about 15 more minutes probably to go of the stream. But I appreciate everyone that's been here. Hope you guys are enjoying it so far. Can't put it off any longer. I have to get medical help. I might as well go as Spider-Man. It just doesn't matter anymore. If I wear my costume, there's a better chance that they'll believe me when I tell of my symptoms. No ordinary man would have radioactive blood. I'll head for the nearest clinic. Spider-Man, this is a hospital. You can't cause any trouble here. You mustn't. Do I look like a guy who's out to cause trouble? No. You look ill. Dr. Phillips, I think you're needed here. That man shouldn't be roaming the hall in his condition. He may have something contagious. Don't just stand there, woman. Assign him to an empty bed. Send for a stretcher. I don't intend to carry him there. But look at his costume. Look who he is. I don't care who he is. His illness is all that matters. An understaffed hospital filled with the sick and the anguished. And I'm supposed to worry about how someone is dressed? Just relax, son. You'll be all right. He's not unmasking me. Not checking my blood. Doc, I have to talk to you. There's something you should know. My instruments tell me all I have to know. Just rest there. I'll be back. I have other patients I mustn't neglect. Men like that, driving themselves, working around the clock to heal people. They're the real superheroes of this world. That's where it's really at. With that final thought, Spidey dozes off until, at last, I didn't want to wake you, but I thought you'd like to know. You've had the worst case of the flu I've seen in years. The flu? Well, it wasn't an ingrown toenail. Minutes later. I've never seen anyone recover so fast. You must have the constitution of a horse. You don't know the half of it, Doc. It's impossible. You can't be on your feet again so quick. Yes, I can. Now that I know what's wrong with me, I'll never forget you for this. Forget me? Forget me? I'm too busy for new friends. I'm okay. I'm okay. There's nothing to worry about. If you slip off that wall, forget it. A bone man I'm not. That's funny. No wonder I felt so weak, so groggy. The flu affects everybody that way. I still feel kind of woozy, but now that I know what it is, who cares? As long as I'm not losing my spider powers, My spider powers? Oh no. I just remembered. I gave myself away to everyone. The fever must have made me delirious. I didn't realize what I was doing. But it's done. It's done. There's nothing I can do about it now. With a heavy heart, the tormented youth ponders his plight as the minutes turn to hours and the fading gloom of the night gives way to the slowly gathering dawn. My strength has almost all returned to me, but what good is it after what I've done? But then, suddenly, of course, it's the only answer. It's a long shot, but at least it's a chance. First, I've got to get my civvies. Everything depends on someone else wearing my Spidey suit at the right time. As for me, I'll need some sort of mask, and covering my face with this loose webbing ought to do just fine. Now, the whole thing is up to him. He's the only one I know who might carry it off. And best of all, he owes me a favor. With the kind of work he does, it shouldn't be hard to find him. Lucky the weather's good. He's sure to be working today. I was right. There he is now. Hey, what gives, man? It's me. What did we say his name was? Hobie or Hobby? Can't remember. I think it's Hobie. It's me, Hobie. Spider-Man. I've been looking for you. Even without your costume, I'd know it's you. Ain't many cats swinging around town that way. But what do you want with me? I've been playing it cool. No one's seen the Prowler and you know it. I'm not after the Prowler, Hobie. I need a favor. Yeah? Keep talking, man. All I want you to do is wear my Spidey suit tonight and show up at a certain place at a certain time. I never figured you to frame a guy. It's not a frame. Trust me. Okay, I'll do it. I guess I owe you that much. He owes it from Spider-Man number 79. Give or take a few issues, says Stan. And no questions asked. No questions asked. Then, after Spidey has given the exact time and place, remember, leave my costume on the roof when it's over. It'll be there. He could have turned me in that time when he caught the Prowler. I ain't about to fail him now. Oh, sorry. He could have turned me in, but he didn't. He gave me the chance that I needed. I ain't about to fail him now. Editor's note, just to show you what we still remember what he looked like. Later that night, a nervous Peter Parker slowly heads for the Stacy home. Well, the next few minutes will tell the story. Parker, we were hoping you'd come by. I have to see you, Captain Stacy. I owe you and Gwen an explanation. That's an understatement of the year. Peter, you're back. This is why I wanted to return, Harry. Visiting the Stacys is like following a movie serial. Listen, when I was here last night, I made a fool of myself. I was feverish, had the flu. I didn't know what I was saying. But the costume. You were carrying Spider-Man's costume. He asked me to. I had met him and I want to believe you. I do. No matter what anyone says. Gwen. At that very moment, just as things are about to get far too mushy, at the window, it's Spider-Man, the real one. You just know it, mister. No need for anyone to get uptight. I just wanted to thank Parker for bringing me my costume. Okay, you promised you'd never barge in on me like this again. Just make sure I get my cut of the dough that you're raking in taking my pictures, little man. Then you and Peter do have a deal. It involves the photos he takes of you. Sure, he's the best publicity man a web slinger ever had. Well, it's been a lot of laughs, but I got things to do. So here's where Spidey splits. Gwen must be in seventh heaven. This surely clears Parker. And I must admit, I'm pretty relieved myself. Well, I don't know about what that was all about, but if Spidey wanted it, that's good enough for me. Now I'll leave his threads up here like he asked me to. You've had a pretty busy time of it, son. And after a bad bout with the flu, I'd suggest you get home again and get some rest. Oh, Peter, having you back again is the greatest birthday present I could ever get. Gwendy, honey, I don't know how I ever rated a girl like you. No matter how big a loser I am, I must have done something right. I hate to stop you like this at a time like this, man o' mine, but you're still warm. You better get right home and into bed. It worked. She's still my girl. Wait, I'll give you a lift, Pete. That's okay, Hare. I'd rather walk and clear my head. The way Captain Stacy is looking at me, does he suspect? What's wrong with me? Things finally worked out okay for a change. Why can't I accept it? Keep cool, lover. The only time I want you delirious is when I'm around. When I think how close I came to losing Gwendy. Well, for once I'm not the low man on the totem pole of life. So why do I feel as though I'm walking on eggs? Next, would you believe Doc Ock? Da-dum. Covered in 1969's All Reprint, The Amazing Spider-Man Annual number 6. Oh, so is that what the the final issue is an annual. Well, that's pretty cool to see these mock-ups. RDV says, I really hope Peter wears underwear in that costume. Oh my goodness. MJ has the best quips. Man, she was catty in this issue. I never knew I liked catty MJ and like Gwen Stacy. She roasts her. Oh man. Ed's like, damn, Gwen, your dad is right there. I know. Actually, the low man on the swimming pool is the most honored on the pole. So the idea of being the low man, being bad, is wrong. Did you just, actually, Maranya, haven't you learned, didn't Englentine train you? So it looks like that was the last book. Then we get all the covers. That was good stuff. Very good stuff. Well, this is a final time for me to thank Dr. Venkman for purchasing me this wonderful gift that I can now cherish digitally. Ash, will you get more of these? I don't know if I'll get more of these. They're like $15 a piece. Not immediately. I'm not gonna get more of these. I have some severe financial things going on. That's part of the reason I've been upset. So, yeah, basically the state of California is really fucking me. So, yeah, this was fun though. So RDV, thank you again. This is a great Christmas gift. I hope everyone else got to enjoy these as well. RDV, I hope you got some enjoyment out of me reading these. I know you've already read them to yourself. I think it's fun. I think it's fun reading the Silver Age stuff. What I really would like to try to read, I've read a couple times on the channel, at least once or twice, some of the Silver Age Fantastic Four, and oh man, is that fun. Like, especially like the relationship, like Reed and Sue. Like, it is so un-PC. It's like refreshing. It's like, it feels so good because we just live in this world where everyone is so uptight about, the words you say and things like that, and it just, like, it didn't used to be a big deal. Things that were like in this comic where, like, where Peter's like, but you're a girl. Like, I'm sure some girls might have got annoyed with that, but like, they just roll their eyes. But girls didn't get all like insanely butthurt about it, They would just prove themselves. Like, it's like, oh, men think I can't do anything because I'm a girl or whatever. And either they would just go, well, that's just the world we live in, let them think that, or they would try to prove themselves. And it worked out. But it was never more than, except for, okay, there's always exceptions, there's wackos, but in general, it was never more than people just being annoyed. Nowadays, it's like, what did you say, you misogynist? Canceled, never be allowed to speak. It just, yeah, and the way Reed talks to Sue, and some of these are just like, oh, damn. Ronnie says, $15, you get some high-quality entertainment, but I totally get how rough finances can get. Yeah, I mean, they're worth it. I mean, and those books are like solid reads. You don't just blast through them. Modern comic, 20 pages. I read through it, and it's just over, and you're like, okay, it's done. Like, and they feel like fluff. You read them way faster, and then they feel like you didn't read anything. Like that story. There's like just Stan was exploring a lot of themes here, that I really liked, and some of the lines that Stan had were hilarious. It says, "Read, don't care." Ronnie says, "I'll investigate which run you should read of Silver Age Iron Man, but pretty much all of it's a good read." All right. I did pick up a couple of Masterworks during the sale. As a matter of fact, you can see my Comixology. So over the holidays, you can see. So these are just Image #1 issues. Image gives away a lot of their #1s for free. So Fatale #1, Killer Be Killed #1. You can just get these free. You don't even have to be a member. They're just free. So I always pick up the free books because unlike real comics, they don't take up any space. And it's a good way to try stuff out and see if maybe you want to buy it. I know I'm going to get the Ed Brubaker stuff, but I download them mostly, so maybe I end up reading them on the channel. Who knows? I picked up the entire Ed Brubaker Daredevil run. So these are the omnibuses. So they make up, I think they make up like 3 trades each. So I think this is like 9 trades. It's all Ed Brubaker Daredevil. Then I picked up the last Fantastic Fours that I needed for the Hickman run. So now I should have the entire Hickman Fantastic Four, not counting the FF books, which I do have the like 1 through 6 of the FF books. I got the Marvels series. This is a series I have the original comics, and I have a trade paperback, and now I have a digital. This includes the 25th anniversary Marvels, which is issue number 5 that came out, I think, in 2019. So this is actually the 5-issue Marvels, not the 4. And it has the annotated. So I don't know if you remember, I think also like in 2019, they redid Marvels, like they just reprinted them. But they were annotated, so like they were twice as thick, and they were like $8.99 an issue. So I think I got this whole thing for like $3 or something. So it's totally worth it. Might read it on the channel. Here's one of the Masterworks I picked up. Marvel Masterworks Volume 1 for Miss Marvel. Now, normally I'm not a Miss Marvel fan. I'm never really, but this is written by Chris Claremont, even though it's pre-X-Men Chris Claremont. And it is original Miss Marvel, which, by the way, I think this is my favorite Miss Marvel costume. Right here. There's something about that costume. I don't know why they got rid of it, but I think that's my favorite Miss Marvel. So anyways, I do have this. It's 14 issues. It was less than $1. I should have picked up more of these books, but this is something I might read because I'm really curious to see how Miss Marvel was originally. I picked up Volume 1 of Silver Surfer, so I got the Stan Lee, same artist, John Buscema, Stan Lee. Silver Surfer Masterworks. So Silver Surfer is one of my favorite characters. So this is something that could go through. Yeah. So I get the origin. The origin's kind of boring actually, but anyways. Just kind of flashing through that, and so there's Venkman's Gift. I picked up the Rebirth Lois and Clark, which is the Action Comics version that I read to you guys, the Road to Rebirth from Superman. This is the companion Action Comics side. Tells the story of how pre-Flashpoint Superman made it through the New 52 universe. I always wanted to read it. It's got Jonathan Kent. This is cool. This is my Superman for me. Like, I love the Lois and Clark and 10-year-old Jonathan Kent. That's DC is enormous fools to abandon that. I've always been curious about Sentry. I like Jeff Lemire. I didn't know what Sentries to get. No one would answer my questions because Breen is always sleeping. But so I picked that up. Gonna read that, and Silver Surfer Black, Silver Surfer Parable. And then there's a gift from Skip. I did the criminal book on there. You guys saw my 100th episode. I read that. So yeah, you've seen all the books that I picked up Venomized because I had the other books. And it was like 99. It was super cheap. But yeah, the Silver Surfer Parable. This is Stan Lee and Mobius. This is amazing. I mean, it was amazing at least 30 years ago when I read it. I haven't read it since. I hope it still stands up to what I remember. I remember it being really good. So those are the books that have in my digital collection that I purchased lately. And yeah. So let's see. Ronnie says, I have the hardcover of the original Marvels, preview and other 4 issues, plus a bunch of stuff that explains how Alex Ross worked on Marvels. I bet that's nice. My Marvels book is not hardcover. It's just the original trade. But I bought it as like a reading copy because, as you can remember, back in the day, we didn't have like internet digital copies. So if you wanted to like read your books, you had to read your books. And Marvel's one of my favorite books of all time. And I just wanted people to read it. And I didn't want to like hand out my originals. So I was like, here, I could buy this and I could pass it around. But yeah, a nice hardcover of this would be awesome. I prefer the later version, that Miss Marvel costume with the covered midriff myself. I never liked the sash. Like the black. Are you talking about like the black one? And she's got like the yellow lightning bolt on her chest and she has like a yellow like sash. I never liked it. It was always, I mean, until she became Captain Marvel, she was always wearing something slinky. My real favorite is Binary. I love the look of Binary the best, but she wasn't Binary while she was Captain Marvel or when she was Miss Marvel. So, Masterworks volume that Ash just read is 218 pages. Yeah. Next volume is 251 pages. Be sure to keep an eye out. Might gift that in the near future. Wow. Very generous of you. Really enjoy those early Spider-Man comics. I do too. They are fun. This is kind of what classic Marvel comics is about. Collects Amazing Spider-Man 88 to 99. For me, I want to read and keep omnibuses. I prefer hardcover versions. Oh yeah, if you want to keep and read them and like, I mean, I'm doing the same thing right now with the Ed Brubaker books. All the books I bought like the criminal book. I bought the hardcover editions because, you know, I totally get what you're saying. But sometimes if you just, like for me, a reading copy now is digital. Like, so I don't buy like soft covers really to just read because I'd rather read them digitally on my iPad. But that's what I used to. The bulk of all my trades and stuff that I have are all bought for the purposes of reading. The only exceptions, I have a few exceptions. I do have like the complete Frank Miller Batman. It's like a black leather bound hardcover books, real nice. And I got that signed by Frank Miller. So that's kind of a prized possession. Trying to remember some other things. I have a few things that are like, ooh. But like I said, most of the stuff I just had the original floppies. I would just buy a reading copy. What I would like, oh, I wish I could find this. Dark Empire, the Star Wars series that Dark Horse did so many years ago. I wish I would have like an oversized hardcover of that. That'd be really cool. But now that Marvel has all the rights, I mean, Dark Horse I could see doing that, printing a nice version of it, but Marvel hasn't now, and Marvel is not going to do that. RDV says, I've been collecting the physical volumes. Oh yeah, that'd be really cool. That'd be a cool thing to have in on your shelves in your library. Have all these Masterworks. That'd be really cool. Ronnie says, I want the 13 Iron Man Masterwork volumes. Sadly, they look to be softcover. Yeah, I don't know if they did these in hardcover or not. And sometimes when they do the hardcover, it's like a one-time printing. So some of these books you can go like, oh, look, there's a hardcover version of it that like when it first came out. And then now you want to go buy it and you're going to spend hundreds of dollars to get it because it has like a collector value. RDV says, I'm selling most of my floppies to make room for volumes. yeah, it's a good way to go. If you're not a collector, then floppies, I totally get it. I totally get it now. Well, folks, it is now after midnight here in California on the West Coast. I appreciate all of you who stayed up late to listen to my stream. As I always say, I couldn't do this without you guys. I know it's something that like every person does YouTube like says like, oh, but it really is true. Like in this case, I only do it for you guys. If you guys didn't show up, there'd be no one to talk to, and I'd be sad and probably playing like a video game or something. And this is a little bit more fulfilling. So appreciate having an audience. Appreciate bearing with me. Feedback is always appreciated. If you're a person who's not in the comments, that's okay. But I welcome you to join the comments. The purpose of this is to have kind of a community. So join in. Everyone here is friendly, nice, and just get in on the comics. Share your opinions. Yeah, it's all good. Ronnie says the original run of the Masterworks they did to hardcover. I have number 20, which is of course the issues of Tales of Suspense from 39 to 50. Yeah, I thought that they did them originally in hardcover, but they don't keep them in print in hardcover. So if you miss the boat, you're paying money. RDV says the Amazing Spider-Man Omnibus Volume 1, $255. Yup. Yeah, I mean, you can literally, if you're gonna collect, if you're like don't like floppies but you like collecting still, and you like the idea of like, oh, I get this and it can go up. Omnibus is kind of the way to go, because sometimes they'll have reprints of the omnibuses, but even still, you have like first prints of the omnibus that just hold their value. So like already, like those Ed Brubaker, there's 3 volumes of the Criminal series in the hardcover omnibuses. Volume 1 and 2 were printed, I want to say, by Wildstorm, or by, I guess that'd be DC, before they went over to Image. And they have like these white covers. Those versions of it are like, could go up for like $100 a piece. Or you can get the Image ones, and they're 35 to 50. 50 is the MSRP. So those white ones, they're way more already, and you can still get the other one. Anyways, it's just a collector thing. Ronnie says, I don't care what print run it is. I just want the collections. Well, I'm just talking for collectors. And I know not everyone is a collector, but some people are. Honestly, man, I tell people the best thing to do, invest in a reading device. A tablet. Yeah, get a tablet. A sizable tablet. You want it to be at least as big as a comic book, so that you don't ever feel like you're reading on a shrinky device. Amazon HD 10s, which is their 10-inch Fire tablet, regularly go on sale. I see them all the time during like holidays and things. Will go on sale for like $79. Now, it's not a top of the line tablet, but it has an HD screen, and it'll let you read comics, and you can hold it in your hand. That they're pretty light, so it doesn't feel like it's heavy. And I'll tell you, man, my tablet is my number one used gadget, probably, even more than my phone. My phone spends most of the time in either docked in my car or in my pocket or something. Like, I use my tablet when I'm cooking. I'm listening to YouTube. Like, I was watching a stream tonight while I was cooking. I read comics on it. I play mobile games on it. Some media consumption device. I watch movies, get in bed. It's easy, so I recommend it. And then you go, well, I don't want to spend the money on it, but man, you save so much, because you can buy you know, like these Masterworks, I was buying them for like $1 when they're normally like $16.99 a piece. And that's for the digital versions. The store versions, I think, are like $30 a piece. So digital comics, you save so much money, and it's space. If you're not a collector, you just want to have stuff to read. Yeah, that's the way to go. Artificial says 38 issues, highway robbery. Why is that highway robbery? Collects Amazing Spider-Man 15. It's not highway robbery. You're just $255 is not the MSRP, Bankman. That's what you have to pay because it's not in print. And so you got to pay the collector price for it. If it was in print, it'd probably be like 125 MSRP. I think that's usually what the big omnibuses go for, depending on their page count. Usually they're like 1,000 pages, $125. Yeah, that sounds about right. And then you go get a discount place, you pay like $80 for it, $75. I just want Spider-Man, not tie-ins. Well, all that is Spider-Man. That was back before Spider-Man had his own title, RDV. You can't be like, every book is a tie-in, because there was no actual Spider-Man book. Goofball. Well, I guess there was Amazing Spider-Man 1 through 38. But before those, like Amazing Fantasy, Strange Tales, it's all Spider-Man stuff. Well, Doctor Strange too, but it's all Marvel one. Just read it and be happy. Be all picky. I don't want Doctor Strange stuff. All right. Well, anyways, I blabbed on long enough. I'm going to get off. That sounded really bad. I'm going to get offline. I hope you guys have a good of your I can't talk. I hope the rest of your evening is good. Read good comics. Join us, me and Skip, Monday, 7:30, I believe is going to be the showtime, Pacific time. And we're going to be talking about Firepower. The new issue, number 7, is out, as well as the next volume of East of West, which I'm loving. And yeah, join us on that. It's going to be great. Learn to love indie comics. They're the best thing out right now. And I don't like ending the show, so I just ramble on like this forever. So I need to stop. So good night, Ed, Maranya, RDV, whoever else I don't see because you're not chatting. You also have a good night, and I will see you hopefully Monday, and the next Storytime Live will be Tuesday. So thanks for watching.